Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Let me introduce to you Irish writer-director Kathy Brady, who is at this year's Torino Film Festival in competition with her first brilliant feature, Wildfire. Welcome, Kathy.
Ciao.
So great meeting you online. So, Kathy, Wildfire is a beautiful, gripping study of two damaged sisters trying to deal with the loss of their mother. How did you come up with this idea for this movie, and how did you cast these two amazing actresses?
Well, I guess, unlike most films, I actually cast the film before I even had an idea. And the reason is I had worked with the two actors before, Nika McGuigan and Nora Jane Noon, and I was blown away with their ability to be both vulnerable and fierce. And it felt like opposite ends of the scale. And I felt like, what would happen if I brought these two actors together? And that's really what happened. We met, we had a pint of Guinness, and I sat back and I watched them speaking for about 5 hours, and I knew I had something incredibly special. And we spent a few months talking back and forward about what story we wanted to tell. And we realised we wanted to tell a story about strong sibling bonds. And it was around that time that we came across a documentary called Madness in the Fast Lane. And this is a documentary about two sisters who had a shared psychosis. And that really was the launch pad for us. There's an extreme event that happens in this documentary, and it really kind of startled us. And we wanted to make a film that somehow would speak to what would cause two people to behave in such an extreme way.
So Wildfire is set on the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. What's your personal connection with this land, with the Troubles and the Brexit?
Well, I'm from Newry, which is right on the border of the Republic. So I live in Northern Ireland, but 15 minutes down the road is the Republic of Ireland, which is now in the EU, and Northern Ireland no longer is. So I guess in all my work, I've really been interested in the idea of identity. I suppose because I'm both Irish and British, I have this sense of dual nationality and shifting identity. And I think it's been something that's always been of interest to me. But with Wildfire, we were very interested in the idea of looking at trauma. And I wanted to bring this film back to borderland Northern Ireland and set it there. And that was where we became across the term intergenerational trauma. And that is basically, it's a trauma that has happened, and somehow the person or the family haven't been able to process it, so it's passed on to the next generation. And when we started looking at that in terms of Wildfire, we wanted to look at how the legacy of the Troubles has impacted both the family and the community at large. And we made this film, 5 years ago we were starting it before Brexit was even on the horizon. The Good Friday Agreement was very much intact. And as we were making the film, as we were drilling down to the person of the film, it became more and more political.
I found in this movie that the dialogues are crucial. There is a way the two sisters talk to each other, and there is a way they talk to others. How did you work on building such authenticity? Also, I love the whole movie, especially the segment in the pub. It made me have goosebumps.
Well, I guess Northern Ireland is somewhere that's pathologically secretive, and I guess even growing up I was always told be cautious of saying your full name, because people will know if you're Catholic or Protestant. Be cautious of saying what school you went to, because people will identify, and that could be dangerous. So you got to remember, living in Northern Ireland, people talk in code. They don't really say what they mean, because the truth is dangerous. So that became really important in terms of the language, in terms of how the sisters communicate, in terms of how the people look, this kind of side eye. And what really became apparent is it's not really what you say, it's what you're withholding. So that became very crucial. But you've also got two sisters who know each other so well that they just look at each other and they can read each other. So the physicality became really important in terms of building these characters. And one of the first things we did when we were building this story was I did a physicality workshop with the two lead actresses. I had no script at this stage, so I used music. as my way to unlock the physicality, because I wanted them to feel like sisters. So I played Patti Smith's song Horses, and I said to the girls, you need to match the energy of this song. It's quite manic, and because this film is going to need this level of energy. And what was amazing is I watched these two actresses, just kind of come in this really high energy, and then they were trying to match each other's energy. And what became really apparent is when they stopped fighting for status and they somehow allowed each other to kind of come into this primal space, something really interesting unlocked. And, that really, watching them dance is very similar to what ends up in the film. The choreography, this mirroring, this kind of primal kind of release. And I really wanted to hold on to that moment and somehow transport it into the film. And that's when it got me thinking about where would these sisters be dancing. And I thought about, well, what if they were dancing in a bar? And then what if this bar really was a bar where, we would have these men who've been released from the Good Friday Agreement. This is where they are, and this is what's happened. This is the price for peace, that these prisoners have been released into this community. And I think what's interesting about Wildfire is, this moment is where, it's not like some American, here we go, the sisters get to confront, the deepest, darkest, enemy. They confront it, and that's just one moment. It doesn't change their lives, and that's actually probably more truthful than what people here in Uri are experiencing, that their next door neighbor had involvement, and there feels like a truthfulness to that, because Wildfire really is about the personal before it is about the political. And I think that's what's interesting about Wildfire. It asks you to lean in and observe these characters.
The location of this movie, they're all beautiful, and the light is unique. You have been working with a female cinematographer, Christelle Fournier, that is the cinematographer Céline Sciamma. Can you tell me something about working with Christelle?
Well, I've always been a huge fan of Christelle's work. I think she's got an incredible ability to capture performance in a very intimate way. It never really feels forced. Yet she still is able to hold an image that is quite cinematic, and there's a poetic and there's lyricalism to her imagery. And I felt that was something that Wildfire really needed. Like, it was important for me that Wildfire didn't stay stuck in some kind of kitchen sink drama, because there was quite there's quite expressive moments in the film, like how Kelly has these visions and what the landscape feels like, this desperate beauty about this place. And I gave the script to Christelle, and I was really blown away with the level of nuance and detail that she was able to read from the script. And that was exactly the kind of person that I wanted to capture this world for me.
Thank you. And also, you've been working with a producer and the editor, Italians. How is to work with Italians?
I think there's incredible similarities between Italians and Irish. I think it's our passion. I think we're very passionate people. But I think the biggest connection I find with, especially with Carlo Crestodina, the producer, and Matteo Bina, my editor, is there's a beautiful way of seeing the world, and there's like a soul connection, and there is something extraordinary in the everyday, and I really admire and I can relate to how we see the world together, and I absolutely love working with Carlo and Matteo.
Thank you. And also, this has been your first feature. What was your greatest challenge?
Well, yes, first feature, and I think from my first short to my first feature took 10 years. Making Wildfire took 5 years. So that was definitely one of the challenges, having the patience and the determination to stick with it. And I've been very lucky with the people who've come into my life and helped me make this film. I think if I'm being really honest, the biggest challenge in making this film happened during post-production. We were halfway through the picture edit when Nika got sick, Nika, who plays Kelly. she got sick, and it was a very fast illness, and within 5 weeks she passed away. And that was incredibly difficult, and I'm very grateful for the support I had from my crew, my family, and Nika's family as well. I took some time away from the film, and I came back to finish the film, and it felt incredibly important to finish the film because, you know, her work, you know, this is her first lead role, and it's incredible that she's not with us. It's heartbreaking that she's not with us. But this film is a testament to how amazing and remarkable she is as an actress. So it had to be shared with the world. And I feel so lucky to have had that opportunity to work with her and to showcase her potential.
Thank you so much for this beautiful interview. Thank you so much for giving me so much of your precious time. And this to the audience, again, Wildfire is a distinctive original work that will remain in your mind for a long time. Go and see it. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.